You know our next guest from films such as Where the Crawdads Sing and Fresh and shows like Normal People and Under the Banner of Heaven. She stars in Twisters, which is in theaters and IMAX this Friday. Let's take a look. Please welcome to the show, Daisy Edgar-Jones. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I felt terrible watching that clip because your character was so concerned, rightly so, and I was so excited to watch a truck go up in a tornado. And this is just one of those classic summer movies that I think so many people love. Were these the kind of movies that you loved growing up, the big summer blockbuster?
Oh, massively so. Like, I really remember growing up and, like, going to Leicester Square and, you know, they'd have these big premieres and it's so cool to be a part of a film that has that kind of massive just scale to it. And we had our premiere for this in Leicester Square in London and I was just like, first of all, how did they let me on the carpet? I was like, this is wild. Like, I'm here, you know. No, it was so magic. I feel so proud.
Do you remember seeing the first Twister with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt?
Well, it came out before I was born.
Don't lie about that. You don't have to lie about your age like that. Make everybody feel bad. Just
so
pretend.
I know, I think it came out in 96, I was 98. But no, I remember I'd heard about it. Obviously, it's a classic for a reason. A few laughs there from the oldies. No, and I watched it, though, because I knew Lee Isaac Chung, our director, was going to be making it. And I was just the biggest fan of his. I'd loved Minari and, you know...
Which is so... Minari, Oscar-nominated, beautiful film. That is gorgeous, but certainly you don't think... oh, this is the guy that should do Twisters. Yeah. And yet this movie is both this grand scale action movie, and yet it also looks beautiful. He obviously has an incredible eye for things in that part of the country.
Well, that's it, and he grew up in Arkansas as well. You know, he had experience with Twisters, and actually for me, I was like, coming from a more sort of indie sensibility myself, I was like, felt exciting to go into this big scale project with somebody who kind of has an eye for character and has an eye for detail, and that's why I think this story, it has big scale, but you really root for the characters because they're grounded and they're truthful and they're human, you know? You
play a scientist, you spend some time with some real storm chasers. Be honest, do you get the appeal? Like, hanging out with them, did you walk away being like, you guys are nuts, or were you also like, I want to do it?
I was like, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. I know. With a trained professional.
Yeah, with a trained professional. Yeah, you don't want an amateur storm chase.
No, I wouldn't do it on my own. But actually, I went storm chasing. I've since been. I went with Glenn. Yeah, Glenn and Brandon from the cast. Basically, we're on a massive group chat with a bunch of storm chasers, and one of our main storm chasers, shout out Sean, he was basically like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah." But then when we were sort of chasing, there was a moment where I was actually terrified because
when you get asked to go out storm chasing, like, what's the time commitment? Like, is it like a whole day, or are they like, we're gonna go out for an hour and chase the storm?
Yeah, I kind of thought, oh, this will be just like a nice hour, a couple hours just driving. I think we were in the car for, we drove from about 8 a.m., probably got back to the hotel 6 a.m., or something like that. It was like a whole day driving.
That's too much time.
It was a lot of time. Yeah, you need good
Where, after making this film, where do tornadoes fall on your, like, disaster scale?
In terms of how scary they are?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, coming from London, we're not used to much of anything, you know, scary. Yeah. Other than just like grey clouds. So yeah, I think I wouldn't want to see one that close, you know.
You saw one closest. We have footage here because you did have to shut down set for a day because there was an approaching tornado, and we don't see you, but we can hear you, and don't take this the wrong way, you do sound like someone who's never seen one before. Let's take a look.
It's amazing. Hell. Oh my gosh. I've never seen anything like this. That's a full-on... That's a tornado. Sam? Is that not a tornado?
Oh my God, what nerd. I will preface, it wasn't a tornado.
It wasn't a tornado.
It wasn't at that point. It was
Okay.
I think it's called a mesocyclone cloud.
Okay.
They call it the mothership.
You're showing off. I think it's called I will say, you're probably the first person in Oklahoma who ever said, "Is that not a tornado?"
Is that a tornado?
You did obviously spend some time with Storm Chasers to get the authenticity. And we've talked to people who have to do certain training, physical training, how to ride a horse, for roles, say. You had to get trained, or you chose to get trained on how to run?
Yeah, Yeah, I was working with a personal trainer, and he said, what do you need for this film? And I was like, well, I'm mostly doing some running. And so he went, okay, run for me and we'll see. And he was like, oh, no. I have a very weird run. Yeah. I still do, to be honest, when I'm not thinking about it. But yeah, it took a lot of leg work to do it.
By the way, I will say, because if there's a movie where somebody has a janky run, it does take me out of it. And I say this as somebody, I also have a janky run. There was a sketch at SNL where I was a pre-taped sketch where I was running. And one of my college friends afterwards texted me, he's like, you still are the worst runner I've ever seen.
I'm probably worse than you, I will say.
All right, well, I would, if there were any outtakes with your original run, I would love to see
We can race off the set.
You were in a fantastic television show that was I feel like it sort of landed at the right time. It was like a COVID show for my wife and I, Normal People, based on the Sally Rooney book. You and Paul Mescal. It was the first time, I think for a lot of people, the first time we were lucky enough to see either of you. Is that a show based on, how heartbreaking it was about relationships? Do people come up to you and just want to unload their relationship story to you?
No, thank goodness, because I'm not sure I'd be much help. But the thing that's most beautiful about that show is I have so many people still who come up to me and say, especially older people, that encourage them to reach out to their first love, just to say thank you for because I think the show celebrates that kind of early love and how formative it can be. And so they kind of say, I wanted to just say thanks for being a part of the tapestry of my life, which is so nice.
That's really sweet.
I know.
Well, thanks so much for being here. I've been a big fan for a long time. Congrats on the film. You guys, that's Daisy Edgar Jones. Twisters is in theaters and IMAX.